hard and fast until there's heat. Go ahead and do it. Till there's heat. Hot. And when it's hot, let it go and watch what happens. Now hers are upright. They're almost always upright. Okay, there you go. If you were in a very, very bad mood and you tried that again, your hands would dip, maybe even all the way down, because the density of thought. So when we talk about wealth for you, Lonnie, it's thoughts create things. Your thoughts are what create your reality. Thoughts. So when you have dense thoughts, you create less. Think of this as how much you can manifest. If your thoughts are dense, then this is the size of the energy ball, and you could put an intention on it. That's the size of it. That's not much. That's not much. You can't get a job with that. You can't create generational wealth. I love that. I love that. Seth, to speak. I love that. When you are happy, consistently happy, then the energy ball is big, and you can see the size of it because of your hands. This size versus this size, it's a direct reflection on your outlook in life.
And today we have the guest that I am so excited that she's here. We have Carol Collins here. Thank you, Carol, for being here and being part of the show. I would love to ask you to tell us more about you, because I love to let my guests introduce themselves.
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me. I am in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the United States. And right now for us, it's a little bit of a stepping stone, because I moved here to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania from one of my favorite places, which is Old Town Alexandria, just outside of Washington, D.C. And why did I move here? This is what I get this from everybody. And I simply say, because I was guided to. I was given structured guidance on how to take the message of Jeshua global. It's global. It's the teachings of Jeshua, the teachings of how to be a channel, how to cleanse the chakra system, how to manifest happiness and wealth and partners and a new life or a new beginning, and how to change your thoughts so that you invite more joy and more fun experiences into your life. The teachings of Jeshua are very simple. They call it intuitive studies, and they say there's 4 pillars. Number 1, know who spirit is. Understand who spirit is. Number 2, understand that you create your reality. Thoughts create things. It's another way of saying it. Law of attraction is another way of saying it. They say it very simply. You create your reality by the way you think and the way you feel and the way you behave. This thing called an etheric field or an energy field, it's real, and it's dark and dirty for most people. It's filled up with all kinds of negative vibration, and that negative vibration is stopping people from creating the life that they're wanting. And then the last pillar is the unfoldment classes. Now, each of those segments are taught by different beings, and collectively they call themselves Jeshua. The teachings of Jeshua, they like to call it our knowing. And I love the title because it is the knowing coming from spirit. Some people say source. I love that name too. Some people say the universe or the divine. I love all of those terms. And I love when people give me a new term. Oneness is one that I just heard the other day, and I love that one too. But the way that this came about for me is identical to Esther Hicks. And so I just like to say thank you, Esther, for putting your example out there and for putting your book out there, because in the beginning of one of her books, Jerry, Esther, I don't know which one added it to the book, but one of them added the story of Esther being introduced to Abraham and being introduced to meditation, and how over the course of 9 months or so, she woke up in meditation, or not wake up, I say wake up, but she realized that in meditation, her face was moving and that words were being written with her nose, just like it would be written across a chalkboard. And I don't know if that planted the seed in my mind or if it was destined to be the same thing, but that's exactly how it happened to me. So I want to say first, thank you to Esther Hicks and also to Jerry, because I love how Jerry asked so many questions of Abraham. Jerry could have found a human teacher, and Jerry did have a lot of human teachers. But once his wife Esther started to channel Abraham, Jerry just said, I need to learn from them. They're the powerful teachers of the universe. They know everything. I'm going to ask them everything that I can think of. And he did. And so I love to share that story, because a lot of people know Esther Hicks as someone who channels Abraham, although she doesn't like that word channeling. I don't like it that much either. I just say conversation with my non-physical teachers, because that is what it is. It's a conversation that you will have in a few minutes with my non-physical teachers, and they teach people how to overcome adversity and get your thoughts in order to create anything that you're wanting. I am a consciously aware trance channel. That's the formal term. What do? I go into a little bit of a altered state, trance state. They're the same thing. It just means that my mind goes extremely quiet, and the next thing I know, my non-physical teachers, who go by many different names, start having a conversation through me, and it's amazing. It's fun, and I'm glad to bring them here for you.
The other day, me and my friend were talking about the universe, and we just had an open-minded conversation about, I used to use the word universe a lot. And I used to say, like, universe, give me this, universe, give me that, not in the same words, but I was using universe to refer, and God, of course, sometimes, but mostly universe. And she was just telling me about her opinion that when you say universe, in her opinion, there might be a lot of beings in the universe. Some might not have good intentions, where others might have. And the ones that don't have the good intentions might give you something you want, but they will always take something back. And I have been thinking about what she said as, is this true? Is it not true? What do you think about it? When we say universe, do we have to also add like my guide angels or the kind angels or angels with a good intention? Should we say that? Are there truly a lot of beings in the universe, and are their intention pure and not pure?
Yes, there are a lot of beings, and yes, their intentions are pure, and no, there is no opposite. There is no opposite. There's us in the world. We are a spirit being having a physical life experience. That's true. And we are in a world where people say yes and no, up and down. Maybe I'll get to it later. I like you, I don't like you. I love you, I don't love you anymore. Let's get married, let's get divorced. I have a lot of stuff. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I don't have a lot of stuff. Please don't look at me. We have variances, we have opposites, but there is no opposite from those that are in the non-physical dimension. When we all pass, we'll all be in the non-physical dimension. It is where everyone goes. I do get people who want to argue that point, and I just say, hey, I don't argue the point anymore, because it's not my opinion. It is the teachings of Jeshua that describe what the non-physical dimension is, what heaven is. If you want to use that, it's the same place. It's a dimension. It's a reality. They sometimes say what we're having is a perceived reality as physical life. We have source energy flowing through us. We are a spirit being having a physical life experience. So what would I say to someone that hears that and still says, well, I don't know, I think there's some, there's some bad angels out there. There's fallen angels, and I don't want to meet up with a fallen angel. I just say, Jeshua, there's a lot of people to reteach in this world, and they say, Carol, yes, there are. Yes, there are. There are no fallen angels, but there are stories about fallen angels. And there's also no goblins, but there are ghost stories that aren't fun to hear. They scare children, and then scared children become adults who maybe they aren't scared of ghosts anymore, but they have a belief in them. So I don't say my non-physical ghost friends, although I do tease them once in a while, and I just say, where are you anyway? And they say, well, we're everywhere. And they say, you can't see us? And I stop. And I used to say, no, I can't see you. I want to know what you look like. And so one day they said, close your eyes. And I closed my eyes. And then I saw a little boy running. And the little boy kind of changed into 2 boys, and then changed into 3 boys, and then came back into 1. And then an adult face came very clear, and then it got very close up, and I was looking straight into ice blue eyes. The man had curly brown hair, kind of down to here, high cheekbones, and these beautiful blue eyes. And I said, that's beautiful. Who is that? And they said, that's Jesus. Who else do you want to see? And I said, well, I just start naming off the people that have spoken through me. And they said, okay, one by one, we'll give you an image of what they did look like. So I invite everybody to my YouTube channel, the Pittsburgh Medium. And in it is a playlist called Fixing It. And I do a cover of each influential person that comes through. I have a list of a lot of them that need to get posted, but nevertheless, when I came to the video that was me channeling the one known as Jesus, I didn't know what picture to put, because none of the pictures look like the image that he put in my mind. So instead of showing his face, I show him from the neck down. I found this beautiful picture from the neck down, someone holding their hands out and water running through their hands. And I just said, that's as close as you can get, because, you know, it was, the image of his face is so strong in my mind. And that one was given to me. And when I look at all the others, they look like people that aren't from that corner of the world. You know, the skin color is different, the hair is different, the eye color is different, the clothing is different. And I just said, none of them look like Israeli, you know, that geographic area, Jerusalem, because we all have an ID. We all have an ID. We all have an ID. In the non-physical dimension, we have an ID. It's called a name. And our name means something. And our name is a marker for identifying that past life. And so what happened was the one known as Jesus came through and showed me the marker point of his life, and showed me just a day in the life as a boy, and then a young man, and then just simply showed me his face. Now that's clairvoyant, because all of that happened with my eyes closed. When my eyes are open, I do see what everybody else sees. When my eyes are closed, I see energy, I see people, I see faces, I see words, I see locations, I see numbers, I see addresses, all kinds of things. I see like a movie screen, like a video camera doing like this, and it's like this close-up view, and I can see different things. And it's all fun. It's all fun. But the thing that I try to explain to people is, it's fun to see all of that and hear it, but it doesn't feel the same as channeling. When I channel, the whole room gets still. It gets quiet. Sometimes I feel like this slow vibration around my face, and then they just speak through me. So when I see an image and even all the details about it, it pales in comparison to having my non-physical teachers come through and just verbally talk to people, loved ones included. You know, I do mediumship readings every day of the week. And when loved ones come through and they just sit down And I say sit down because it's like sitting down and across the table from someone and saying, hey, I didn't mean to leave you, or this is what happened to me, or this is how you're going to know it's me, or the conversation goes in any direction. But it's a blessing, and it's an honor, and it is never a curse. But also, curse is just not real. You know, there's only love in the non-physical dimension. Spirit world is love and love only. They say that again and again and again and again. And the teachings of Jeshua simply remind people that source, no matter what name you use, God, Goddess, Divine, Thor, Jesus, Mohammed, Buddha, the universe, all that is, oneness, universal consciousness, the ocean of life. It matters not what the name is. It is a place that we are not aware of, and that place is a vibrational equivalent of pure love. And it's intelligence that is in and among that pure love frequency. And it is where we all come from, and it's where we'll all go back to. They talk about the transition, you know, when we cross over, when we go through the veil, when we pass. There's a lot of different names for that too. They say it's a purification process. All of the thoughts, the memories, the emotions that are not equivalent to pure love, pure joy, and pure love are filtered through. And those filtered things reside in the causal. That's what the causal plane is. It's the purification of each person that makes their way back to the non-physical dimension. So when we all get there.
Sorry to interrupt you. Is the spirit love as well? Like, what is the spirit? Because you said we have to understand the spirit. So is the spirit an loving energetical vibration? What is spirit?
Intelligence. Yeshua to speak now. We just come swiftly through. We love the conversation. It is the fast-paced conversation that allows us to just swiftly come in. As Carol was talking, we just say, okay, now it's us. And so here we are. Anna, we love the conversation, and thank you so much for asking it. We are Yeshua now. Carol is here. She's awake, obviously. But these are the words from Source. It's a place. It's a place where love resides. Spirit beings are infinite, intelligent, alive, thinking beings. We are all beings. The spirit world is the dimension, the place where everything is real. It's where we are, period. It's where we are. This world that you live in, Carol's sitting at a picnic table here in a pavilion, in a state that is currently called Pennsylvania, in a nation that's currently called the United States, in a hemisphere called North America. But this world has been here for eons, long before North America was North America and Pennsylvania was Pennsylvania, and long before this picnic table was a tree, and before it was a tree, it was a sapling, and before it was a sapling, it was a different kind of tree about 1,000 times over, because everything comes back to life, back to life, back to life, including people. You come back to life, back to life, back to life. When we speak through a human being, we do so to remind people in continuity of life, that is one, and that spirit beings are pure, period, just pure. We're pure. And we're infinite intelligence. We know everything about everything about everything. We had a little game going the other day with a handful of Carol's friends. And they all thought of a song. And they tried to trip us up. And we gave them the words of the song. We gave them the melodies if they were not capable of receiving the words. And we proved to them one by one that we know every song. Pick a song, pick a year, pick a song, pick a march, pick a hum, pick a drum, pick an instrument. And we know it. We know every book that's ever been written. We know every word in every book that's ever been written. We know every poem that's ever been written. We never ever say that we don't know anything. but conveying it through a human being. Well, that is the challenge. Because in order to convey something through a human being, that human being's mind must be fully rested and fully resistance-free so that we can speak on that topic. Now, we speak about a lot of things through Carol, mainly because we do it all the time. And she had this request of us, no limits. And she said to us, she looks up into the right when she talks to us. She said, well, what are my limitations? And we said, Christianity for one. And she said, oh, I knew that was coming. And we said birth, we said sexuality, sex in general, dying and the grieving process. Ghost stories, only to a little bit because you don't like them, but they did affect you when you were small. And so one by one, we gave her new conversations. She says it's my conversations with Jeshua that changed her. But we say it was her that allowed herself to be changed because she never had to ask us one question. She never had to. She could have had this ability and kept it to herself, or had this ability and just given it to others for free or for profit and just given readings. But instead she said, I want to be taught. Tell me things that I don't know. Tell me about who you are. Who are you? She would say, what did you do today? In the very beginning, when Carol started receiving us in this way, she said with so much innocence to her highest level guide that uses the name James. She said, James, well, what did you do today? And James said, well, I had a conversation with my teachers. And I watched over about 1,000 people. And I guided a few across the veil. And I helped you get out of a bad mood about 3 times. And then she laughed and she said, oh, I was in a bad mood today. And it's a back and forth conversation, human and spirit, human and spirit, human and spirit. And she said, you know, I love the movie A Knight's Tale. And I love the part where, you know, the one gentleman is talking to everybody that's up on the stage, on the platform, and then turns around and says, and for all of you not on a cushion. And the crowd goes wild. Carol said, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want everybody on a cushion. And I want everybody to know that they can manifest their life and they can manifest wealth and they can manifest happy. But I want everybody to know that they can, to quote the movie, change their stars. You can change your stars. You can start from a lowly beginning and you can become a knight or whatever it is. Equate the two deltas. You can change your stars. You can reinvent yourself. You can believe in yourself.
But where do we start? Where can we start? Should we clear our soul? Should we change our stars? Should we just clear the chakras? How can we reconnect to our default state, which is abundance and health and love?
Yeah. We love the question. We are Seth to speak. Default right to create a life that you are wanting. It is your default right to create a life that you are wanting. Now, everyone does not start equal. You all start with what we call birth intentions, capital B, capital I. Those are your life purpose-like things that are built into your lifetime, that are built into your Socratic system. Intentions are not, you shall be poor, you shall be shy, you shall have wounds inflicted upon you, you shall have to uncover who you are, and until then, you will be an angry person. It's never anything like that. Birth intentions are things like, I want to see life from a different perspective, and I want to have people guide me to the right path. When I find it, I want to do it and do it fully. With the exception of this, and then we fill in the blank, we set up the storyline, and then a human being becomes a human being, and then they live life. But some people start off with obstinance because they are wanting to prove something. Well, that's what human language is. We just say somebody starts off with determination. If you're someone that has determination built in, you might be highly confident or you could be aggressive, because human life comes into play, free will comes into play. So we do have an IM retreat twice a year, and it's 3 nights and 3 days where we guide you and we heal the chakras. We focus on the root chakra, and we look at your belief systems, your unconscious beliefs, and we cleanse it. What does that do for you? It changes your stars.
So
Because
when we have these childhood traumas and when we have these limiting beliefs, is it an energetical blockage, or is it in the mind? Where do we store it? Or is it just like beliefs just stored in the body? How does it manifest inside of us, all the childhood trauma and all the negative beliefs that we have, all the limitations?
Well, trauma is but one. Now we say the tractor that went by, for your viewers where the tractor was annoying, that goes into the root chakra, and it gets associated to other things that are annoying or frustrating. It goes into that I don't like it category. Trauma goes into that category as well as anger and fear and doubt. Where does it go? It is an energy block. It is energy. And it looks like gangly. It's like a root ball. If you tipped a tree or a bush upside down and you see the clump and you see all the roots just kind of all squirrely hanging out there, that's what an energy block looks like if you could see it. We do see it. Now we look at it and we say, what is the source of the problem? And we identify it. And then we begin to remove different layers, different layers, different layers, different layers, until we identify the root. And then we shift all of those things and we separate them. We don't take anything from your life. We don't take human experience away from you. It is still part of your quote unquote life story. But we separate it. And whenever you take a knot and separate it, it's no longer ugly or hurtful.
So fascinating to me. When we just started conversation, before I hit recording, I just want to share this with listeners. You just told me something. I was like, oh my God, I have been asking a question of how to create generational wealth, not just earn money, for the past few weeks. And the moment the call started, you just told me that this about me creating this wealth. And this is just, I don't need any proof, but for the listeners, this person just told me what I needed to hear without me sharing anything with her. I have not shared it with even my husband. It was just all in my mind. So people just listening, I want them to know this so they have more faith and they just trust in this conversation more. And I'm so curious, when you just told me that, did you just ask any question about this interview, or the information just comes into your mind just naturally, or do you just ask questions?
Here's the fun thing. We're gonna let Carol, now it's me. So I feel them around my face and I feel my mouth moving. So right now I say it's me. I didn't think about anything. I was just trying to choose a location because my house is too echoey because I just emptied it out. I'm in the middle of a move. And so I needed a nice, pleasant location that would have a nice backdrop. And so I chose my favorite park. On my way here, they took my hand and pointed towards the park and they said, this one's going to be good. And I said, the location? And they said, no. The conversation with Ani. And I said, oh. And they said, that girl wants to create wealth. And I was like, oh, that's going to be a fun conversation. So I don't reach for information, but they know everything. They know what your blocks are. They know what you're wanting. They know what kind of things you've imagined. They know how you want to spend it. They know what your limitations are, your perceived limitations, and they know where you want to be in 5, 10, 15, 30 years from now. There's things that you don't realize are inside you, but they do. And we're right here. Now, Carol feels us starting to come in, and so we're going to finish the conversation. We say this: we know what you're currently manifesting, and we know why you're currently
Can
manifesting
you just,
it.
I know it's a big risk, or if you're willing to just share, I'm going to be your example. Can you just talk about me if they
Yes,
are willing to tell, like, what I'm
absolutely.
manifesting? If you know what my vlogs are, I'm willing to be open to my vlogs to be shared. Energetical vlogs.
Well, we're going to do this. Now we say Seth to speak. Seth to speak. I am Seth, and I want to say this. I want to teach everybody this. This is one way of creating your life. What is it? Energy. Now, Carol feels that the chakra points in the hands all vibrating, and she feels vibration in her hands. Now, if she were in a very, very, very bad mood, that energy, its density falls down like gravity. The energy ball that's between the hands would go between the palms instead of the whole hand. You have, this does answer your question, my dear, just a moment. You have energy points that start at the fingertips and go all the way down. When you create an energy ball, it's between the whole hand. And if you have a lot of positivity, then the energy ball is the same circumference, diameter as your hands. Now, if you're in a very bad mood, for Carol, it takes a very, 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 very bad mood. She hates when I use that many, but it takes that many. Is if she were in an extremely pissed off mood, then her energy would become more dense. The density would fall, and the energy ball would be smaller than her whole hand. It would be down here. And when you don't have the whole energy sphere between the entire hand, there's nothing to hold the fingers up, and they fall. I'm going to explain this to you again. When you rub the hands hard and fast until there's heat, go ahead and do it until there's heat, hot. And when it's hot, let it go and watch what happens. Now hers are upright. They're almost always upright. Okay, there you go. If you were in a very, very bad mood and you tried that again, your hands would dip, maybe even all the way down, because the density of thought. So when we talk about wealth for you, Lonnie, it's thoughts create things. Your thoughts are what create your reality. Thoughts. So when you have dense thoughts, you create less. Think of this as how much you can manifest. If your thoughts are dense, then this is the size of the energy ball, and you could put an intention on it. That's the size of it. That's not much. That's not much. You can't get a job with that. You can't create generational wealth. I love that. I love that. Seth to speak. I love that. When you are happy, consistently happy, then the energy ball is big, and you can see the size of it because of your hands. This size versus this size, it's a direct reflection on your outlook in life. So practice this and get good at it, and be determined to have it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You will see the energy ball grow. It's what it is. And then have an intention placed on it. I want that to remove any of the blocks that I have for creating generational wealth. Now, what we said to Ani was this. She has a built-in birth intention to do something with her spiritual gifts, her spiritual abilities. Now we say gifts, and it is a gift because for some people they're built in, and for you, my dear, it was. What was built in? The knowing that you would eventually want to be able to communicate with spirit by yourself. You love the idea. You will love the idea even more. But it'll become not just a pastime. It'll be a need. We know this for sure. It'll become something that you can't take your eyes off of. That's built in. That's how we know it. It's built in for you without a doubt. No matter what your job is, no matter what your life experience situation is like, One thread that will be constant and increasing is your desire to be able to communicate clearly with spirit beings. Now, we also said to her, stop your mediumship classes because that'll mess you up, because she is what we call a natural born channel. And when the human mind is taught mediumship to reach out to loved ones, it can stop the mind from allowing entities to speak through a human being. So what's the difference between a loved one and an entity? Well, think of it like a single life versus all of your past lives combined. It's one lifetime versus all of them. All of them is an entity. When I speak as Seth, I'm speaking as the entity. I've had 3 different lifetimes as Seth, but my entity is huge. It's huge. There's no number that you can put on the vastness of it. And what we know is everything about everything about everything. What you know is what you've learned in this lifetime. But that parent soul being that you have knows everything about everything. And they are also the one that weaved energy together into your Socratic system to give you your starting point. What is your starting point? All of those things that are built in, the instinctual, innate things that are built in. And for you, the ability to become a channel was built in. It's not destiny. You don't have to do it. It's not forced upon you. But because it's built in, you will have a natural tendency to want metaphysical kind of things in your life.
It was so beautiful. Every time you mentioned that, at one point I will go deeper into this metaphysical, I had this energy flowing into me.
Yeah. Well, we started to say almost, and then we backed up a little bit because you went in a different direction. It is your physical body's response to being communicated with. Your highest level guide, everybody has one. Everybody has a powerful partner that co-creates with you. That one is the one that is in charge of your spiritual development, as well as giving you everything that's in your life path. When that one communicated with your body responded with these tingles, sensation, the chills. It is your body, the interior mind, substitute that for body because it's the physical skin. It's your body's response to being spoken to by your.
And I didn't have chills. I had like the energy flowing inside of me. No chills. It was just like when you get cold and you get this into your body. I had that inside of my body.
Yes, yes, that's the way it feels. It feels differently for different people. Some people get a warming sensation. Some people get the tingles are located in a certain place. But it does feel like something is coming over the body. Generally, when that happens, people get the tingling sensation or up the spine or in certain locations. But it's the physical human body that is being spoken to, and the warmth or the feeling of flowing or the tingly sensations, that is the body's response to having been spoken to. So congratulate yourself because your body is responding. Your body is responding.
What is it? Even you being there and the spirits that you channel can even feel me here and feel my energy and feel my blockages. So what is is there no limitation through space and time?
We jump in a little bit. We don't feel your blocks. We know them. We know them.
Knowing, as you mentioned.
We know them. So we're going to describe this to you a little bit. The guides in spirit are powerful. But everybody in the non-physical dimension knows everything about the worlds. So you can ask your grandfather a question about the universe, or you can ask one of the entities that speaks through Carol a question about the universe, and it matters not. The answers will still be the same because we all know all things. We know medical things. We know why. We know if you can heal it. We teach people how to change their stars and change their beginning or create a new beginning by changing their thought pattern. And the and is important. And cleansing the root portion of the chakra system, because that's where all your blocks are. That's where they're located. If you could see what the root chakra looks like, it looks like quicksand. It's dark, it's thick, and you can't, that's why we equate it to a swimming pool. You wouldn't get in a swimming pool of quicksand. But when all that quicksand is cleaned out and it's crystal clear water, you would jump in that pool and play.
Do you have a knowing of, for example, my root chakra right now, or do you have to go into a place where you just concentrate and then you get the knowing, or is it like immediately you can get the knowing, for example, of my own root chakra right now, or is it a question you ask and then it comes to you?
If Carol were going to answer that question, we're going to close the eyes so that people can understand this. If Carol were going to answer that question as a clairvoyant person, then she would ask her guide, her highest level guide, or a loved one if they were there, or an angelic being if they were there, what the question was, wait for the answer to come in pictures, words, phrases, and a knowing, and then she would convey what she heard, what she received. That's not what she is. She is an automatic talker. We just say it's like automatic writing, but with the mouth. It's automatic talking. We speak through her. So she doesn't ask the question. Her mind is in a quieted state where she does not participate. And so we hear your question and we just answer this. We just say, if you were asking us to look at your root, we would, and we would identify what the problem was. Now, when we talk about the I Am retreat, we give everyone a guidebook. And that guidebook is lengthy. Some have been a small book, 20, 30 pages worth of their habits and patterns and their issues and their problems, why they started in some cases, and what the retreat has changed in them and what they'll see coming out of it. So it's a guidebook of your life, for your life. Are we looking at your root right now? No, we're not. Can we? We can. And we do every day of the week when people call and say, I need to know what's going on. Why is this happening? When Carol gives readings, it's us. She says, I have the easiest job in the world because all I have to do is just answer the phone or open up my video and I just let you guys answer all the questions. And we say, yeah, but it took a long time to get there. Your mind went quiet and then we taught it how to do the thing that you do. So she really gets all the credit because she allows knowledge to come through. But when some people have a question, they want to know, why is this happening or what's going to happen? That is what we do. We look at the root and we identify what their problem area is. And then we tell them what to do about it. We give structured guidance, step by step by step by step. And we tell them, if you do this, this will be the result. If you don't do this, then these could be the results. Because free will is alive and well in the world. We like to say that all the time, but it's an and universe. You get to have a life and you get to ask for guidance. And you get to decide whether or not to follow that guidance. But when you do follow the guidance, the thing that you're wanting always comes to fruition.
I love everything that we're talking about. Before I ask you my last question, first of all, I want to acknowledge you that you have, first of all, let your mind as a Carol for all of these beings to give you all this information, to guide us, to guide listeners, to guide yourself first, to being so vulnerable and open about the topics that so many people think it's not true, it's woo-woo, and for being so confident about how you are showing yourself and being confident in your truth. I really appreciate your vulnerability, your confidence, all the information you gave me, all the value you are bringing, and just for you to be such an open channel for the truth.
We are James to Speak, Carol's highest level guide, and we invite everybody to the cruise in November of 2022. It begins and then it will end, and then we'll have another and another. But what is that cruise? It's a Caribbean cruise. It leaves out of Florida. It's a 7-night cruise. And on that cruise, you get us. And you get us 4 times for 2.5 hours each, for a total of 10 hours. And what do you get to do? You get to ask questions. Any question that is important to you, as long as you don't mind having it answered in front of a group. So it's a public forum, and we invite everyone. The information on it will be out within 30 days. So look for it. Give her an email on her website, the Pittsburgh Medium, THE, pittsburghmedium.com, and say, I'm interested in the ACIM retreat, or I'm interested in the cruise with Jeshua. It's going to be a good time. It is your opportunity to have opulence. We have designed the cruise to include opulence. Everyone gets to experience something that only a handful of people do on that ship. We don't give too much away, but we just say, find the ship. It's called Celebrity Apex. And find the iconic suite and imagine yourself being there. Because everyone that goes on the cruise will not be there, but everyone that goes on the cruise and does invest in themselves for the entire series will be invited to a party in that suite, so they can experience opulence, so they can walk around. And we say, bring your bathing suit, because there's a hot tub on the deck. And most people will never experience that.
Speaking of questions, before I ask you my last question, is there any question that you or your guides wanted to be asked, or any topic that you guys wanted to talk about and I didn't got the chance to ask the question?
Oh, Yeshua to speak. We just say this. We invite everybody to follow the teachings of Yeshua through this woman, Carol, the Pittsburgh Medium. We are who we say we are. We are source beings, and we love talking through people. We love teaching people, and we want you to learn how to channel. So we're going to give you a quick rundown of what we do through Carol. We teach intuitive studies. We teach people who we are, who you are as a physical human being, why you're here. We teach you about birth intentions, so you know why you're here and why your personality is different than other people, maybe different than other people in your family. We teach you about the chakra sense system and how to cleanse it, and we invite you to the ACIM retreat to have it cleansed. And then we teach you how to become quieted in the mind through meditation and through different exercises. Some of it is writing, some of it is reading, and some of it is just participating. We want people to have a quieted mind so that they get stuff. And we want to show people that getting stuff is as simple as clean, clear root, meaning get rid of those unconscious beliefs, have better thinking thoughts so that you can create and design your life on purpose, and then learn from us. So learn from us in our classes, learn from us in readings, learn from us on the cruise ship, learn from us at the retreat.
And can you say one more time where can people find you, the website? Yes. And
the Pittsburgh Medium, it's THE, Pittsburgh Medium.
I'll link everything down in the description box as well. And my last question to you will be, which I ask to every guest, just to leave listeners with whatever is on top of your, well, usually I say whatever is on top of your heart, but I would say on top of your spirit to you. It can be a word or one sentence or two to just leave listeners with something that comes into your mind or spirit immediately.
Infinite ability to create your reality. There's no limitations in this life except for the ones that you accept to be real. Don't accept them, and then they are not real for you. Love who you are, love who you've been, design your life on purpose. Be a believer in the teachings of Yeshua, because we are wanting to teach you, and we love you so much.
Thank you so much, Carol, Yeshua, and Seth, and I think I missed one for
James, yep.
James, yes, for being here and giving us all the information about all of your knowing. And I really appreciate all of your presence here.
Thank you so much. It's been a
And
pleasure.
thank you, listeners. Sorry, what?
Stay in touch.
Yes, and thank you, listeners, for listening. And this was a completely different episode, on energetical level. And I just want you to enjoy this. And until next time.